It's November, which means that you might be leaving thousands of dollars on the table by not reaching out to brands and proposing a partnership. See, a lot of brands have budgets that they absolutely have to spend by December 31st. So who better to give that money to than you? So I'm gonna walk you through 8 brands that you can pitch and exactly what you can say to them. So the first brand that you should pitch in November is LASIK.com. They sponsored an account on X called ML Football. So ML Football is kind of like a curation account. You may have seen these on X or Instagram where they take clips and photos from other sources, curate them. There's one thing you need to know about me. I'm a huge football fan, specifically the San Francisco 49ers, and they played a rematch of the Super Bowl from last year. They played the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't really want to talk about it because it didn't go well, but there was a play that ML Football highlighted, and this was big Trent Williams, O-line, got punched on the ground, and everyone was up in arms about it. And the funniest thing about this partnership is that LASIK.com, they have this thing called Questionable Call, sponsored by LASIK.com. And they're saying the LASIK.com network is offering all NFL referees free LASIK. So the joke is like, oh, refs can't see, they're missing all these calls. But what a creative partnership. So, a lot of creators think like, I have a really large following on a platform like X or a platform like LinkedIn, and it doesn't seem like a lot of brands or companies are really sponsoring creators on there. But this is a really creative way that you could potentially propose to a brand or a company like, hey, there's a lot of attention on this particular thing. In this case, the football games every weekend, there's always plays that the refs are like missing, their fan base is up in arms about, right? So if you have an account where you're curating timely things on a weekly or daily basis, why not reach out to a brand or a company and use this example and say, hey, look what they're doing. They're even getting organic press mentions because of how creative this partnership is. So the next brand that you can pitch in November is 19. They partnered with my good buddy over at Creator Science, Jay Klaus, in his newsletter. I get a lot of comments, a lot of emails from people saying, hey, you only talk about social platforms on these videos. Well, here you go. I got an X one. I've got one on newsletter. So let's take a look at this partnership. So the way that Jay does it is he says, this issue is presented by 19. He links them, and then he talks about, whatever the newsletter topic is. And then he has this kind of block around the sponsorship where it says, hey, this is presented by 19. So basically they're a design service that you already have a website, and they're going to help you kind of give a facelift to it, increase, optimize it, this type of thing. And the really clever thing that Jay did, and something I talk about a lot, is optimizing the landing page. So he has a photo of him there. There's even a CTA here that says, get your first month free, thanks to Jay. And so, if you are collaborating with a brand and they're providing you a vanity landing URL like this, and there's really no connection between the integration that you did on your platform and your newsletter or whatever and the landing page itself, even small tweaks like this, like putting your profile photo on there, maybe even like an embedded video. Oh, hey, thanks so much. Here's the reason why I love 19. Here's the reason why I love brand XYZ. That can pull your viewers, your audience members, your customers further down the purchase funnel for that brand or that company. And guess what? Conversions are going to increase. So the next brand that you can pitch in November is Shea Moisture. They partner with the creator named Lizette, and it seems like they really want to draw attention to the fact that their products are available in Target. And in fact, there is a sweepstakes. They have a hashtag called Season for Shea, and there's actually a URL in the caption. This is always funny to me when brands are like, you have to have the URL in the caption when you can't even click on it on Instagram, but that's besides the point. But I just want to see where they're driving. And so, interesting. There's this URL called Fooji.com, Fooji.com, and it seems like a software to run promos or sweepstakes and things like that. And sure enough, I go to just the root URL, Fooji.com, and that's exactly what this tool is. So I talk about this a lot. You're not just a creator, you're also a consultant. So if there is a brand or a company that you want to collaborate with and you do your research and you see that it doesn't really seem like they've ever done giveaways or sweepstakes like this, you could educate yourself on this tool, maybe even get a demo of it. I was just clicking out here, and it seems like you can get a demo of it, right? And that's like a really interesting way for you to reach out and get your foot in the door and say, hey, I'm wondering if you've ever done something like this. There's actually this really cool tool. I've seen other brands doing it. Let's talk. So the next brand that you can pitch in November is Lululemon. They hired a creator named Lauren Welcome to do a realistic day in the life. A lot of creators ask me, how do people get partnerships with these gigantic brands, these dream brands? It feels just kind of out of reach. It's so elusive, right? Well, when you actually look into the description box of this video, you can see the hashtag hashtag Lululemon creator. You can click on that. You can see other creators that have partnered with Lululemon. But honestly, when you start Googling, what you'll find out is Lululemon actually has a landing page called Affiliates and Creators where anyone can apply to. So the lesson that I want to instill in you here or bestow to you is that rather than grumbling and feeling jealous and feeling like, why is everyone else getting deals and not me? Simply by doing a little bit of research, you may actually be able to get on the radar of some of your dream brands by raising your hand and applying and saying, hey, I would love to collaborate with you. And sure, it may start out in an affiliate capacity, right? Where you start driving sales and, all of a sudden when they start recruiting for a flat compensated campaign, a lot of times they will source those partners from their existing affiliates. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken with influencer marketing managers, and that's one of the first pools that they pull from is their existing partners. So could be a game changer for you. So the next brand that you could pitch in November is AI bookkeeping tool Kick. They hired a creator named Justin Moore. Man, what a great name that is. Who's that guy? Psych! Anyways, full disclosure, Kick actually hired me. This video in particular is not sponsored by them, but I did a partnership with them on, the scope of work was a couple social posts on X and LinkedIn, also a newsletter. So I actually was the very first partner when Kick was still in beta back, I think almost a year ago now, and they just officially launched. And so they reached out to me and said, can you spread the word about our official launch on Product Hunt, etc. And so I wanted to show you kind of the difference between the X post that I did and the LinkedIn post that I did. So I basically said, QuickBooks came out when I was 6 years old, and now I have gray in my beard, mostly from all the stress that it gave me over the years. So glad I ditched QBO for AI Bookkeeper, Kick Finance, et cetera, et cetera. And then I have, so on X, for example, that if you link the actual tracking link in the first tweet, oftentimes it can suppress the reach of that post. So on X, what I did is I put the special link in the next tweet. However, what I did on LinkedIn, it was almost the same exact copy, but instead of actually putting the link in the post itself, I said, hey, if you comment Kick below, I will DM you my special link to get your entire 2024 bookkeeping for less than $500. So there's a couple things that does. So I had a bunch of people in here, commenting Kick, right? People commenting Kick. And then what I would do is I would just manually DM them. This is not like an automation. I would just manually DM people. So there's a couple cool things. When you actually encourage people to comment, it increases engagement on that post and shows it to more people. The learning lesson here is that you really do need to understand the subtleties of the different platforms that you're activating on, and being able to educate your brand or your, the company that you're working with, educating them on why those, the copy that you're proposing needs to be slightly different to perform as best as possible on that platform is absolutely critical to maximize the performance of the campaign. And by the way, Kick actually is incredible. So if you want to check it out, I'll put my affiliate link down below. So the next brand that you can pitch in November is NerdWallet. They hired a creator named Jess Spam to do an Organize with me. One of the first things I noticed when I was looking into this campaign is I clicked on NerdWallet's IG handle. They have 143,000 followers, but the engagement, they're getting 25, 44, 78 on these reels, 94 likes. If you click over to the reels and just look at how many views they're getting, for the amount of followers that they have on their handle, it's actually not that much. And I don't know if you've seen, NerdWallet is actually running broadcast TV commercials as well. So they've got money. And I bet you they would love to really crack the Instagram nut or the TikTok nut, the short form nut, let's say. And so perhaps the pitch that you can reach out and give to them is, hey, I actually think I could be creating some more compelling content for you to repurpose on your own platforms. I don't even actually have to post it. That can be part of it, but the main thrust of your pitch is, hey, I can create some let's say reels on autopilot for you, 5-10 videos a month. It's going to be $7,500 a month. What do you think? So the next brand they could pitch in November is Intel. This is actually a LinkedIn partnership with a creator named Pascal Bornet. I actually have a lot of linked influencers in my DMs. Yes, that was one word. Linked influencers in my DMs these days saying, hey, all the campaigns that you're posting about, it seems like it's just like social, like Instagram, TikTok, maybe YouTube. But I have 30,000, 50,000 followers on LinkedIn. Are there any brands who would want to collaborate with me? And the answer is absolutely, but you probably have to pitch this to them. They're not speculatively putting out like campaign applications like, hey, we're looking for LinkedIn influencers. It's happening more and more, but it's still something that you have to educate a lot of these brands about. And so Intel, like Pascal, is spreading the word about the Intel Xeon 6 processor, and he actually did an article on LinkedIn. That's what he's linking here, and got some pretty awesome engagement here. So again, if you are a creator on a quote-unquote non-traditional platform, but you have a lot of engagement, you have a lot of reach, you have a lot of people interacting with your content, you absolutely can reach out to a brand and propose something like that. It just may take a bit longer to educate them on the value. So the next brand that you can pitch in November is Algo University. This is an ed tech startup. They hired another LinkedIn creator named Shambal Arifa, and they are trying to fill 50 engineering spots, trying to shortlist 50 engineers. And the really creative thing that Shambal did on this post is actually embedded a poll. I've actually used polls really effectively on platforms like LinkedIn, because you know what's really cool? When you are the creator of the poll, the author of the poll, you can actually click in here and see who is voting what. So if you can actually segment, if it would be valuable to the brand to segment the responses of that post and saying, oh, for the person who voted, 2 years, who thinks like the best time to switch a job is 2 years, we want to provide, recommend that they look at this product. For people who said 5 years or more, we want to recommend them this product. So if you can actually segment and maybe put in a little bit of legwork and manually DM the people who voted specific ways, that could be a game changer for the brand. Again, it's not like going to be on autopilot. It's not something that can be super scalable, but again, if you are willing to put in the work, the brand is going to be really, really impressed with that effort. So if you're ready to run through a brick wall and pitch more brands, make sure to click on this video right here.